Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sons and Daughters of Liberty. Give me a few seconds. Well, maybe. Give me a few seconds to share these links, so I don't know. Sorry, guys, I'm having like major internet issues right now. I just had to close out Hangouts and reopen it, which is weird. I've had perfect internet connection all day today after I got done talking to the service techs. It's looking like I might have to just restart my computer here. We'll see. See if I can't get it back if it stays connected. It's not looking too promising here, guys. I might have to restart and reload this. Restart the stream. Everything keeps freezing up. Alright, we'll give it a shot. I'm not sure if my links got shared or not, but anyway, let's get this show on the road, shall we? few things happened today I want to kind of discuss. But the first one, the most important one, is the Supreme Court's ruling on hate speech. How it is protected by our First Amendment constitutional right. And I know some people may not differ on this, but it is very important that all forms of speech is protected. There's many things that this little ruling of theirs and the wording of it can benefit us, especially with all the censorship that's going on right now. I mean, yes, does it mean certain people can go out there and just preach hate? Yes, unfortunately they can. Because speaking hate is not acting on hate. It's not committing a violent act. And that is very important to note. So, I mean, like I said, all these laws are a two-edged sword. But hey, on a positive note, Washington Redskins can now keep their name. It is not considered, it is protected by the First Amendment. I mention this for a reason, because this lawsuit that went from the Supreme Court was dealing with a label, dealing with a trademark, which means it was dealing with a corporation as well. You know, it was dealing with the band, but it also protects, like, the Washington Redskins and other things. It's important to note the verbiage and usage of the words and how the Supreme Court justices ruled on this, spoke about it. Because now, there's this little Google thing that Dabu has reported on, and I've seen, I think, yeah, Dabu, check him out. In fact, I will link his channel. Actually, he's got 3 channels on my favorites. I'll link one of his channels so you can find all of his channels from all my channels. So it is important to understand what they're trying to do when it comes to censorship. They're saying we can't speak freely. We don't have freedom of speech. Well, the Supreme Court has ruled that our speech, even hate speech, is protected by the First Amendment. I mean, I know it's a touchy subject because even with me, I'm first one to be bitching about certain idiot in Dearborn, Michigan, that was on YouTube promoting this type of violence and attacks to happen. But he is protected by freedom of speech because he's not acting, he's not committing the violence, he's not personally, physically doing it. There's where the difference is. That's the important part. So all these people that take offense because you call them, I'm white, so I'll just call myself Cracker. You can call me Cracker all you want, you're protected by it. Even though I might consider it a form of hate, which I don't. It's just a word. Words have no meaning to me. No word should have any meaning, because when you give words meaning, you give people power over you. I'm just using it as an example. That's what makes this ruling so important for, like, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Google, who wants to put people into police our content because certain how we say things. Well, guess what? They can no longer do that. You know, calling a cop a pig, guess what? I can say fuck you too, cop. You can't say I committed a violent act, because actually a cop can actually get you arrested in some states because it's considered an aggressive act by using your free speech. So all you crybabies out there that want to cry because these words are offensive to you, guess what? It has no more meaning to you. You can cry all you want. It's protected by the First Amendment, as it should have been. So now you can find something else to cry about. I mean, yes, it's a two-edged sword, like I said. Prime example. I'm Dearborn, Michigan, told everybody, all these extremists to go commit these acts. He's protected by our First Amendment right. Why? Because he did not commit the acts himself. Doesn't mean I agree with that part. And I do think there's a fine line there that can be crossed. Drawback to this. The Shakespeare in the Park thing, they will be protected under free speech. I mean, I personally don't agree with that, but same token, what Kathy Griffin pulled, she can actually be protected by free speech because she did not commit a violent act. Although there's certain lines where it comes to, and there are certain lines when you're dealing with a president that cannot be crossed. So keep that in the back of your heads. For anybody thinks it was cool what she did, no, she can still be investigated for that. Like, there is laws in place for stuff, for things, but the Supreme Court's ruling also affects her and those. But it means it also protects us to go protest them, to say what we feel. As long as we're not acting in violence, because I can pretty much come on here and express myself. And if you don't like it, go cry me a river, I don't care. Not that I'm going to come on here and preach hate. I don't agree with it. I am protected under my First Amendment rights. I'm glad to see our Supreme Court finally got something right. Finally protected something that is so important to us. You guys let me rant a little bit more longer, and I'll open up the call-ins, because I know you guys want to voice your opinions on this, because I know I did. And I haven't seen anybody else report on it, so. But let me read you the article. Thing I want to talk about. I want to talk about what happened to Otto. I'm sure you guys all heard about it. The college kid that was detained for a year in North Korea and came back in a coma. He passed away. He died. I want to discuss a little bit about that as well. But first, let me read you this article. Oh, maybe. I will leave the link in the description. I haven't done it yet, but I will before this video is over, so other people can go look at it. In fact, I'll leave it in the chat right now, so I don't forget, so you guys can. Guys, if I cut in and out, bear with me. Like I said, my internet connection, I don't know what the hell happened. It went from I was able to upload 45-minute videos to an hour videos in under 10 minutes to me getting disconnected and back to where I was square one after I threatened to call the Tweet 11 News on them since they don't want to give us a service that we're paying for. But funny, they're quick to jump through hoops to get it done. Supreme Court unanimously reaffirms there is no hate speech exception to the First Amendment. I'm linking it in chat right now, guys. Before I go on to read if I can. So you guys can check it out. Supreme Court unanimously reaffirms there is no, in quotation, hate speech exception to the First Amendment. Great. Oh, it's beginning to think it's Chrome. Or I just think that Google's playing with everything and screwing everything up. I know it's not really the case because I seem to be picking up a neighbor that lives, wow. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, close to 8 miles away. I'm picking up his router. I hate sites that load so slow. From today's opinion by Justice Samuel Alito for 4 justices in Malta versus Tam, the Slants case. Government may restrict speech expressing ideas that offend strikes at the heart of the First Amendment. Speech that on the basis of race, ethnicity, gender, religion, age, disability, or any other similar ground is hateful. The greatest boast of our free speech jurisprudence is that we protect the freedom to express. Oh, come on. This is the other part I hate. I can't see if I'm cutting her out. See, here's where it's nice to actually have somebody else in the Hangouts with me. Because I'm just having all... Let me guess, I got disconnected again. No, still connected. Except for my except for my Hangouts crashed. Alright, looks like I'm back up. I can't tell. Hangouts keeps crashing now. It looks like I'm going to have to redo the stream and restart my computer. All right. I'm going to give this one more try. I'm going to try to restart my computer and redoing the stream. It's freezing up. And it don't look like this is going to work. Okay. Nope. I don't know what's wrong. Don't know why it keeps doing this. But it's like Hangout freezes up. Like I said, this is the drawback of not having other people helping out. When you do things by yourself, you kind of get screwed when you have technical issues. But right now, it seems to be working. Try, I guess. I don't know where I got disconnected at or froze up at, so I'm just going to start all over. I was reading. Oh, that's where I'm going to have to wait till the page reloads again now. Like I said, if it ain't one thing, it's another. I mean, at least I was able to post a link in chat, but let me refresh this. It's not looking like it wants to refresh. All right, let me close this window out. Nope. Chrome's now screwing up. Hangout. Alright, looks like we minimize the screen so I can keep an eye on it. Okay. In today's opinion by Justice Samuel Alito, for 4 justices in Malta versus Tam, the Slants case, the idea that government may restrict speech expressing ideas that offend strikes at the heart of the First Amendment. Speech that deems on the basis of race, ethnicity, gender, religion, age, disability, or any other similar ground is hateful. But the crudest boast of our free speech jurisprudence is that we protect the freedom to express that we hate. I mean, the thought that we hate, and that's in quotations. Justice Anthony Kennedy wrote separately for 4 justices, but on this point, the opinions agreed. To discriminate based on viewpoint is an egregious form of content discrimination, which is presumptively unconstitutional, can be directed against speech found offensive to some portions of the public, can be turned against minority, and dissenting views to the determinant of all. The First Amendment does not entrust that power to government's benevolence. Instead, our reliance must be on the substantial safeguards of free and open discussion in a democratic society. And the justices made clear that speech that some view as racially offensive is protected not just against outright prohibition, but also against lesser restrictions. In Malta, the government refused to register the slants as a brand's trademark on the ground that the name might be seen as demeaning to Asian Americans. The government wasn't trying to forbid the band. The government wasn't trying to forbid the band from using the mark. It was just denying it certain protections that trademarks get against unauthorized use by third parties. But even in the sort of program the court held discrimination, including against allegedly racially offensive viewpoints, is unconstitutional. And this no viewpoint discrimination principle has long been seen as applying to exclusion of speakers from universities, denial of tax exemptions to nonprofits, and much more. And we're froze up again. Okay, are we unfroze? Yep. Okay, I keep freezing up. Justice Neil Gorsuch wasn't on the court when the case was argued, so only 8 justices participated. The slants and the Redskins win. The government can't deny full trademark protection to allegedly racially offensive marks. I know for some of you guys are saying, well, this only has to deal with trademark. No. You have to understand the verbiage. The fact that hate speech is also protected by the First Amendment rights. I mean, so is any form of, you want to use any form of racial slur, you're protected and you have the right to use it. Whether I agree with it or not. Like I was going back pointing out to case in point, guy from Dearborn, the imam or whatever he is, a radical fuck. That's what he is. Told people to go out and do these things. But he did not commit those acts, so therefore he cannot be charged with such. Just like I was also referring to Shakespeare in the Park, Kathy Griffin. Although there is laws that they're kind of violating, but they could challenge it under these grounds of freedom of speech. So like I said, it is a two-edged sword. But it also, wow. But it also, we're dealing with Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google. With this law and with the verbiage, how these justices worded it, let's look at Washington Redskins. They are a corporation. They are part of the NFL, which is a corporation. Basically, it is saying that their names and logos are protected under free speech. Therefore, we can use verbiages from these justices for when YouTube, Facebook want to censor us, saying we cannot speak, especially with what, I mean, guys, I'll post a link. Definitely check out what Dabu posted about Google today. Downright ridiculous. They want to censor our speech. They cannot. And now we finally got the leverage and the loophole that we needed. And we just got to pick apart the verbiage of each justices and what they said. Like I said, laws are a two-edged sword. It's how you interpret it. Our Constitution is common sense. There's no other interpretation other than what is written black and white. It only has one interpretation. Freedom of speech, you have the freedom to express your mind, whether it's hate speech or not. And with this ruling today, that just set the standard that at least right for now our Supreme Court is upholding our constitutional rights, recognizing that we have a voice and we have a right to say what we want. And that any corporation or group or individual that tries to deny us that, or when a police officer said, when you tell the police officer to F off and when they cuff you and try to charge you with verbal assault, they can no longer do that because it is considered free speech, even though it might have been hate speech. I mean, I could say F you pig. Yeah, it probably could say that's hate speech. But I'm in my constitutional rights now to say that. Not that I'm going to, because, yeah, it's a little uncalled for. Now, when I was younger, all day long, but yes, there's many controversies to this. And it looks like everything's working fine. I think maybe once I close this window out here, we might be good. I might be able to do call-ins. Sorry, guys. You guys posted in the chat. I had to read off that page and keep Hangouts open so I can make sure I didn't get disconnected. Now I got to reconnect to YouTube. There we go. I guess I'm the only one watching, though. So maybe we won't do live call-ins. But then again, I probably would have quit watching too with all these technical difficulties that I've had. But let's talk about, I want to get back to this topic. I want to talk about the auto thing. I mean, I've heard reports. You know, the fact is, he should have never been locked up. He should have never been incarcerated. The fact that we had a lame, poor excuse of a president before who would rather spend billions of dollars in some deals with terrorists would not try make an attempt or lift a finger to get this man out of jail or prison in North Korea. Of course, I mean, I guess they're saying that after the trial they're saying he had got botulism. No. He was probably tortured, beaten, and who knows what for a year that resulted in permanent brain damage. That's what he died of. Massive brain damage. You know, I'm quite sick and tired of North Korea spouting out after mouth. And me personally, that was a U.S. citizen that you just murdered. And that's what it should be. You know, and that's what our president should flat out say. We want people held responsible because he was not in bad health. He was in perfect health until they locked him up. Me personally, after dealing with what we've had to deal with North Korea, that would be the last straw, and it would set a perfect point to anybody else that wants to do stupid things to our country, that we're not going to take it. You know, I know my heart and thoughts and prayers definitely go out to his family. What they had to endure, no family should ever have to endure. And it's just a shame we had a lame, no good excuse for a person that would just roll over to all these people as a president for 8 years. It took getting a real president to get action done, to get him back. Now hopefully he takes the right course of action in dealing with North Korea from here on out. Now, like I said, I know you guys are going to have all kinds of views and opinions of what the Supreme Court ruled. The fact is, it is free speech. It is protected. It should be protected, no matter if it is hate speech. But now let's look at the positives to this. Hey, I can say the N-word all I want now. If it offends you, so be it. Tough shit. I have a right to say it. Just as much as they have a right to say it, and they say it all the time. What makes them any different from us? Nothing. And I'm not trying to be offensive here, guys. I'm just stating a point. You guys have been crying about the stupidest things, and it's everyone when it comes to our freedom of speech. Oh, you can't say that. That's offensive. You can't fly that flag. It offends me. Well, if that flag offends you, go live in a country where a flag don't offend you. Because apparently you don't respect this country and what our flag stands for, what our Constitution stands for. I'm getting tired of the crybabies. Boo-hoo. Get over it. You know, it's finally good to see the Supreme Court make a decision that protects our First Amendment. Because like I said, now we can pick the verbiage apart, the language apart, and use it against YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Google, from oppressing our free speech. No matter what our speech is, they want to deem it hate speech, so be it. It's protected by the Constitution. The four justices just deemed it so. So now you can't censor that. I mean, yes, there's pros and cons to it, because now the people that wants to say use hate speech, they can use it all they want. I mean, like I said, there's a catch to everything. But the fact is, there's a difference between saying something and acting. I can verbally say a bunch of stuff. Does that mean I act on it? No. I'm expressing my views, my opinions, my feelings, my emotions. That doesn't mean I'm going to act on them. I'm venting, I'm ranting. I'm not acting. I might be using deconstructive to constructively express myself with some of the verbiage and tones, but that's within your free speech, you know. So, big win for the Redskins. For all you Redskins fans, Washington Redskins will keep their name. You know, I always thought that was even back in the 90s. Was some of the biggest BS ever, telling, oh, the Tomahawk and the Braves. That was offensive. You can't do it no more. There was a few other things. I mean, there was a few things where they actually changed their names. Well, guess what? Now some of these organizations go back and reclaim those names because they had every right to. It's protected under our Constitution as freedom of speech, freedom of expression. Yes, unfortunately, that does protect Shakespeare in the Park, Kathy Griffin, because they'll argue on the constitutional aspect of free speech and freedom of expression. Do we agree with it? No, I find it very offensive, but hey, I might as well tell myself, go cry myself a river, because that's about what I just told the other side. And, hey, cool, I can live with it. That's the difference. Because it's something I believe in. I believe in our Constitution. I believe in those rights and freedoms that we have. That's what made America great. That's what made people wanted to come here, to be free, to express themselves, to get away from oppression, dictators, communists, socialists, a place where they could actually maybe achieve some of their dreams, which we'll save that for another day. Oh, wait, I already did that. It's called the Great American Deception, Part 2, The American Dream. I'm working on Part 3 now. I mean, we're never going to agree with everything, but when it comes to our Constitution, that's one thing that should be law of the land. That should be law. Unquestionable, undisputable law. And it's time that our Congress starts honoring our Constitution. Because there's many in our Congress that isn't honoring our Constitution. There's some governors that aren't honoring our Constitution, like 93 million Americans die a day from guns and gun violence. Yeah, that's 1/3 of the population, jackass. So in how many days there wouldn't be no America left. I'm still waiting for somebody to put him on the spot and make him apologize and retract his statement. I mean, none of the news reporters that reported did it. They just, oh yeah, and how many idiots out there believed it? I'm sorry, that's still, I mean, it's not funny no more. You know, we have our freedoms, we have our rights. I know some might be out there saying, well, this wasn't a big win for us. Unfortunately, I have to differ. It was a big win, especially when a lot of us are starting to deal with censorship. When it comes to these platforms, it was a huge win for us. Because now it gives us legal grounds to go after them when they try to censor us. You know, I'd like to think and believe we live in a day and age where we wouldn't have to tolerate and deal and hear hate speech. Even though it is protected. You know? But, you think people would realize it. But you'd think we'd be living in a day and age where people would quit giving words power, too. But apparently, we can't get past that little psychological brainwashing warfare that they use against us. Because that's what it is. It's psychological. If it causes a trigger, it's a trigger. If it causes a reaction, emotional reaction, and you react to it, well, you need to question why that word is making you react. You need to question and ask yourself, why am I giving that word so much power to cause that emotional reaction? Now that the stream seems to be working right, I am going to reshare this link. And I can do simply that, remove SDOL, and it's a different tweet. Now everything seems to be working right. I will open up the live call-in portion. I'd love to hear your views and opinions. I know you guys got them. Let me turn my conference call on. And I'll open up for other topics as well. Like I said, I talked about auto and just talk about our little Second Amendment right thing to, say we don't have. Phone numbers in the chat box, guys, on YouTube. Make sure you'll have to use the pin as well. And like I said, phone lines are open. For those that never used Uber Conference before, you don't have to create an account. You just click skip. But it will ask you to create a username. You can just put anonymous if you don't want your real name. I just want to hear your opinions and views, and maybe answer some of your questions. What do you think about the Supreme Court's ruling on hate speech? I mean, I think it was a big win for us. Just on the grounds of the censorship, because that's what Google thought they were going to go after. That's what Facebook and YouTube's been using against us, saying our form is because our religious beliefs or our way we word things or say things about radical Islamists that's considered hate speech. Well, hate speech is protected by the Constitution. Me personally, I'd like to see some laws passed that abolishes corporations. I mean, it's ridiculous. The I don't know, Senate race or governor race or something in Georgia, the Democratic Party just spent a record amount of money to get their Democratic candidate elected. How do they get away with this? Through corporations. It's where our Supreme Court screwed up under the Obama administration, saying that corporations are not considered a U.S. citizen, therefore the Constitution does not apply to them. So therefore, because we're only allowed to spend, what, $2,000 on a candidate or a campaign? And there's a limit. I don't know if it's $2,000 exact or what. Why? Because I don't contribute to them. You know how I contribute it? By going to the polling booth and voting. Why? Because they're rich already. See, the reason those laws were in place was so everyday people like you, me, just run for president. That's why they put those laws into place. Anybody on the street could, what? Have a chance to become a congressman, a governor, a mayor. But now they took it to where corporations can control who becomes elected and who doesn't by squashing out the little guy who can't afford to get. But then again, that's why they hate Trump so much. because he just proved, hey, I don't need to spend millions and billions on campaigns. I'll use social media. And that's and shortly after they realized their big mistake. That's why they want to censor and put limitations on the internet. Because they don't want some random guy putting a monkey wrench in the system that they've had going for so long. That's what it boils down to, guys. That's what they're all pissed off about. I mean, like I said, love him or hate him, he's made things really interesting. He's woken a lot of people up. And for real, he's got the Democratic Party shaking in their boots. You know. So I think it was a big win for us today with that ruling. Because like I said, now we're going to be able to use that to fight against the censorship that they got going on. But same token, other people are going to keep being able to do what they're doing. But there's a difference. The verbiage in this also states the difference between acting and expressing. When you act out hate, that is a form of action. That's not a form of expression. It's not a form of free speech because you're not speaking, you're acting. You're acting out upon it. And I'm glad to see them point those distinctions out. Like I said, guys, I'm definitely sorry for the technical issues. I don't know why it happened. Like I said, hey, most of the day, up until I decided to do this live stream, the computer was running great. The internet was perfect. Like I said, I was uploading under 10 minutes, 45-minute videos to YouTube on another channel. Like I said, Drew, for those that are subscribed to Drew Lima, that is my backup channel from here on out. I'm moving stuff that's over there to this channel and to another channel where the stuff belongs. But I'm going to keep Drew Lima, I think, for Ramblings of the Chaotic Mind. That's my ranting, my expressions. I wish we lived in a day and age where, I wouldn't have to have a backup channel. But yeah, I see the need for it. I mean, guys, come on. The stream's still live. Feel free to, if you don't want to call in, hey, express your opinions in the comment or in the chat. Unfortunately, I don't got nothing else open because I'm not taking the risk of this thing crashing again. The only thing that's open is YouTube, so I can monitor chat, the Hangouts, and Uber conference calls, and be able to take your calls. And I do believe I did share, for those that are actually on Sons and Daughters of Liberty on Twitter, I did share Dabu's link about implications of flagging content, putting people in charge to strip us of our freedoms of speech. I said, when I seen that video, then I've seen this, it's like, oh wow, perfect. Finally, a ruling that, whether you agree with it or don't agree with it, it protects our freedoms of speech. It tells people, the Supreme Court just told corporations like Facebook, YouTube, you cannot censor freedom of speech, even if it's hate speech. They're trying to label our speech as. You know, they had the chance to clean things up, and they didn't. They didn't want to. Focusing on us instead of focusing on the real problems. Well, now the real problems are now also protected by that, which will bring up some good debates and some good topics for down the road. But the most important thing, our First Amendment rights was upheld, including the freedom to express ourselves in our speech. I've known too many cases where people have been arrested for just saying F you to a cop. Why? Because they can say, well, that's verbal assault. Well, no, not anymore. It's not. You can say it's hate speech. You can say it's as long as you use the word verbal, it is protected under our constitutional right, our First Amendment right, freedom of speech, freedom of expression. You know, guys don't go just going out there and disrespecting cops. Don't do it. By now, we should be grown-ups about it. And usually the reason we did it, the reason we said F the cops anyway, was because, well, we were young, dumb, and we're doing something stupid, and more likely they had a reason to be looking at us. You guys, you know, like I said, yeah, it kind of put a wrinkle on the Shakespeare in the Park thing, though, because now they're kind of protected. Although, but like I said, there are other laws in place that, you know, that a president and congressman, they have a little bit more leeway when it comes to certain things like that, because that is a threatening act. Even though it's portraying, and it can be argued either way. That I'm going to stay away from for a little bit. I don't agree with it. I find it offensive. But that's what the Secret Service job's for. It's their job to go and intervene. I mean, it goes back to what I discussed last night in Ramblings of the Chaotic Mind with Hank Williams Jr. Because he spoke out against Obama, he lost his job. They fired him. Stopped airing his song Monday Night Football. Well, guess what? We got a new president in town, one that's actually doing his job. Whether you like it or not, there's some things he's done I do not like. But he's doing what he said he was going to do. And some of the things he said he was going to do, I didn't agree with. But hey, there's things that he's done that I do agree with. No one's perfect. We don't live in a perfect world. The perfect world does not exist and will never exist. You know, too many people get this concept of a utopian society. Utopia. Yeah, it's a good dream. It's a pipe dream. It can't exist just because of the natural process of things, guys. Gotta have one. You gotta have both things in this world because we're made up of all the things of this world. You know, that's some things some people can't see past. It's cool. The fact is, if you had a society that was perfect, you wouldn't have free will. You wouldn't have anything. It'd be perfect. You wouldn't grow. You wouldn't learn. It would be, quite frankly, in my opinion, it'd be boring. I'm not saying that maybe 20 centuries from now we might evolve to actually have that. But in this day and age, not going to happen. It's a very distant pipe dream. You know, but it goes back to what I just said with Hank Williams Jr. What he said, he was well within his constitutional right. And truthfully, he should have sued the NFL for that because he discriminated against him. I can use the very same verbiage that those justices used in on hate speech. He should have never lost his job to begin with. Of course, they lost their ratings with it. But they were, in a sense, they were too cowardly to stand up for what was right, stand up for our constitutional rights. So, yes, I had a gripe with the NFL and Monday Night Football. That's why I stopped watching it. There's ways to boycott things. And they took a big hit in ratings. And well, since football's around the corner, let's talk about Kirkpatrick. Jeffy hasn't even been signed. I mean, there's repercussions for your actions. Was he expressing himself? Yes. Was he protected by the constitutional right? Constitution? Yes. But there was consequences to that. Now no team wants him because San Francisco lost their fan base. It was disrespectful to the soldiers. You gotta remember, when you're in positions, when you're an NFL player, NBA player, hockey player, or just a college player, when you do actions like that, there's those sporting events, we bring our soldiers there. We give them free tickets. Why? We're honoring them. It's a way of giving to them for protecting our freedoms. Protecting your freedoms to do what, Kirkpatrick did, and some other ones did, to protest in their own way, to express themselves. But when you do that, you got to remember you're also spitting in the face of those that serve. You're giving it a bad name. There's a proper place to do those things. And for example, the proper place to do some of the things is like what's happening with Shakespeare in the Park. I don't agree with it, but that is a proper venue. It's not the first time it's happened. It's happened throughout century. That's what they used the Broadways, the plays for. It was a forum to express your disgust, dislike for things. It was a way to express your freedom of speech in an environment that could be considered a parody. I don't agree with what's going on. I find it very offensive. But that is an environment for that. We also have to think sometimes outside the box. Granted, we know what they're using it for, but right now, the Supreme Court's had their say on that because it does protect them. But we have every right to do what a few people have done. Interrupt it. Although you might want to be careful with that one because that is actually acting out. And to be, you be playing around with other verbiages in the law. But, as long as you're peaceful and you don't resist and you go willingly, not much they can do. Besides maybe set in jail for a few hours, because bottom line, you're going to claim your First Amendment right, which you're entitled to. Just like they're entitled to claim it now for expressing their views. Like I said, this also put an end to a lot of these crybabies out there who, oh, you said the N-word, you said slant. You're wearing a redskin hat. Guys, I'm not a Redskins fan, but big win for them. Believe it or not, I'm actually a Bills fan. Yeah, I know. Joke artist of the yeah. Only team to go 4 years straight, lose 4 years straight. Yeah, not a good record. But hey, I still support them. Like I said, there is lessons to be learned. There's just consequences of things we do. But expressing our rights, the freedom of speech and expression, even if it's a form of hate, it's protected under the Constitution, which I've always kind of agreed with. When it comes to the Constitution, it's black and white. There's only one way to interpret it, and that's with common sense. I think that should be a mandatory reading lesson before you even can graduate and get your diploma. You must read Thomas Paine's Common Sense, because that's a lot of the problem in this world today. People lack common sense. People want to twist plain verbiages and words where they shouldn't be argued about. Just like everyone should be treated equal. White, black, Asian, Mexican. Filipino, Korean, Japanese, go on and on. If you're living in this country, you're a citizen of this country. You should have every equal opportunity, male, female, transgender, homosexual, whatever, should be treated equal. No matter what you believe and practice, you have that right, and you should be treated equally as anybody else. I went off on a rant about that a while back. It did offend some people because, it was titled what it was titled. Truth, you can't handle the truth. The truth is, a lot of people that claim to be constitutionalists, I'm afraid not. Because you interpret one thing, but your actions and the way you treat others of a different belief spits upon the Constitution. Can't claim it just for your belief when it says all beliefs. All people should be treated equal. Like I said, common, black and white, we need to reword it. There's no rewording it. Reread it and understand it for what it meant, what it means, and it's supposed to mean to this day, unchanged. We shouldn't need lawyers to interpret it. It's common sense interpretation of what it states. The Second Amendment right states every man, every woman has a right to arms. There should be no question on it. Shouldn't ever be argued. We shouldn't have to have carry, conceal, carry and conceal permits or open carry permits. We shouldn't have to register. Every United States citizen, American, has that right under the Constitution. All you gun activists, get over it. It is black and white. I can't, and I hope that the Supreme Court goes through that and rewords the Second Amendment and states what it states. Every American citizen has the right to bear arms. Can't take it away from them. Can't restrict them. Can't put restrictions on how many guns they can have, how much ammo they can have, or the capacity of the things. It's all covered in black and white. These are the issues that we need to keep focusing on, keep pushing for. Because once we get the Supreme Court to start ruling on these things like they did with hate speech, on the rest of the amendments, there is no room for anybody to cry about anything. Reason for people to deny you your constitutional rights. Make the politicians do their job instead of focusing on stuff that they have no business focusing on. You know, they can start focusing on getting more jobs, better education in our school systems, medical, Medicaid, Medicare. You know, there's a simple fix for all of that, honestly. I can tell you what the fix is. You take the lowest pay, whatever the lowest paid person in the United States makes, base it off, better yet, base it off minimum wage, whatever minimum wage is, the price is based on that. No doctor, no pharmaceutical company can charge above that set price. Wow, damn, wasn't hard to think of. That's just that pharmaceutical company, doctors, they become a monopoly. They become a corporation where only the rich can afford it. The serfs have to beg, plead, work their asses off to be able to afford it, even with insurance. It goes back to what I just said. You know, if we enforce laws like that, the Medicare, how it's supposedly going to run out of money, wouldn't run out of money. There'd be money to go. Why? Because the prices are set at the common person. The lowest person can afford it, working a minimum wage job. And you set it so the prices aren't, so it takes no longer than 5 years to pay even the most expensive of surgeries off, which would probably be brain neurology surgery. Well, yeah, people are going to say, oh, it's cutting the doctor. No, the doctors takes a Hippocratic oath. Their job is to do that. Their job's not to fatten their wallet. We need to get back to some of the old ways. We need to get back to where doctors can come and make house calls again. That way they're really interacting with the community. Because let me tell you something. If doctors start doing that, the doctors would find that they would be treated higher value. People would actually give them stuff, you know, here, take this meal I cooked. Or I just killed this deer, I got processed. Here, take some of this venison home to your family. There's other forms of currency, guys. And, you know, people start appreciating things more. You know, or some rich guy might donate a car to him, you know. These are things of things. No, I was actually honestly shocked. Anywhere on the news. Because, I mean, shit, that's the biggest thing of the day. Maybe because how it was worded. It was a big win for Washington Redskins. Maybe a lot of people didn't know this was even in front of the Supreme Court. And a lot of people is going to look at it, oh man, they just screwed up. they protected hate speech. Yeah, they did. It was protected to begin with. There was no question about that. We might not agree with that aspect, because, but the fact is, speech and expression has always been protected by the Constitution, even hate speech. But with their rulings and their verbiage, it also now gives us the ammunition we was looking for to start fighting YouTube, Google, Facebook, and their bullshit censoring. Like I said, it is a win for us as well. Like I said, guys, I do apologize for the technical difficulties. I actually thought they finally got our internet fixed. I mean, damn, it was running better than what it was 3 months ago, and I thought it was running perfect then. And all of a sudden, go to do a live stream, and bam, disconnected. Everything wants to freeze up. Mic issues. And my mic's fully charged. So I'm using a Bluetooth. But yeah, makes you wonder. Although I know it was internet side, it was nothing to do with censorship, because, like I said, ended up having, what happened was somebody else's router we picked up on, and it disconnected us from the internet, and it just kicked everything, whatever they had fixed, undone. But hey, you win some, you lose some. Anyway, that we got a tech coming out here tomorrow. But Matt, so you guys, there's something else, something, little wisdom for you guys. You're having issues with companies like that, and you're paying for a service and you're not getting it, and you keep having to complain, they're still not getting it right. Threaten to call your local news and have them investigate you. Make sure you have some facts. What I ended up doing, I took screenshots, ran speed tests, and took screenshots every time it acted up and did things. Started talking to my neighbors, finding out, like, it's weird. I was gone for like 3 months. Come back and all of a sudden, usually it was just one little thing, one router that was causing some chaos, but everybody was having the issue. So I talked to some people, and come to find out, a lot of people dropped them and started going to hotspots. Going to other things like, Straight Talk now offers a hotspot that you can run your computers and your phones off of. They started just using that, and they're getting great service. Better service than what we were getting, apparently. Service. But we shouldn't have, because we're paying for the second highest tier. I mean, the highest tier right now is the new fiber optic line. The next tier down is, we're right there. So, I mean, yeah, I shouldn't have no problem. Like I said, I should be able to game, live stream. And I used to be able to game and live stream. I should be able to live stream from XSplit without a problem. But yet can't. But like I said, I've learned, when you start gathering your own little evidence on things, that way you can actually, if you have to go through with the threat and report to your local news and show them the evidence and give them names of people they can contact. And there's no company wants to be investigated by the news and have basically be saying they're not giving the people the service that they're paying for. And like I said, lo and behold, he said, like, if I end up talking to the supervisor, I went right straight to the supervisor. He's like, I explained what's going on. He's like, well, if it's a money issue, we can credit you back. Well, I'm like, well, that would be nice, because we really haven't had internet for a month. Not working internet. We're definitely not getting what we're paying for, so now they're going to credit us back for a month. Cool. And they're going to send tech out here tomorrow to fix it. But like I said, I went back outside, did a little work, came back in, and wow, I couldn't believe it. Went to upload a 45-minute video, and it said 6 minutes. Now, of course, 6 minutes to upload, then 2 minutes to process, but still, under 10 minutes. I've never uploaded a video like that before until today. I mean, even when I thought it was running great 10 months ago, 3 months ago, I mean, it's, half hour for an hour video. That's okay. I mean, I could live with that. But now that I really know, shit, yeah. So like I said, guys, sometimes you got to think outside the box. Sometimes, especially for me, I get pissed off a lot, and I'll run off emotion, and I'll just rip into them. Sometimes thinking outside the box, taking a little step away, looking at other ways to deal with things, like mitigation, by taking screenshots of a speed test, talking to your neighbors, getting permission to use their name as references, in case, because, guys, reporting people to the Better Business Bureau is a joke. All it is, it goes on a little record sheet, nothing's done, it's just there, nobody cares. But like I said, guys, hopefully we'll get some more followers here and start getting some interaction. Like I said, I got some cool things coming up. This week I'll be finishing up the monstrosity of it. Boom crane, engine hoist, engine hoist. It's more like slice truck hoist. But yeah, we cut all the metal up today and bolted the rest of the stuff down. Wednesday we'll be welding everything up. The sawmill is almost done. I had to make a couple changes, cut some metal to make my clamp system. Like I said, I don't want to be drilling with that wood. I'm refurbishing all this stuff, so I'll be sharing some of those videos this week as well. Then we'll actually start getting into real do-it-yourself projects. As like I said, there's a few things, like 3 more things that need welded. We hooked up, pulled up here, and all that needs is just shim welded in. And the car trailer up that I think you guys seen some pictures of, I may have posted. But that just needs, we're going to cut the axles and redo the axles and pull the axles out. So when you got a vehicle up on it, it's not, when you hit a bump, it doesn't brush the tires. We're going to get the tires off underneath the frame to where it more belongs, which will, in a sense, hopefully lower it a little bit. And it's on to business. I pretty much got the lathe cleared out to work. I can start working on the lathe. And it's just a matter of getting the house trailer workshop cleaned up and things organized so we can work in there more. Look forward to be doing some of those videos. Like I said, I'm going to be doing some reviews as well. I got some things I want to do some reviews on. And like I said, Sons and Daughters of Liberties will keep doing things on topics that come up throughout the days. I feel it's important. I kind of want to discuss it and come to you. We'll hopefully eventually be able to get some of these live callers going. And like I said, once I get people interacting, we'll start doing What Would You Do? And I've got some, like I said, some more prepping videos coming up. I'm more taking notes and things I want to bring to you guys on the prepping side. So, like I said, look forward to keep the interaction, keep bringing you fresh new content. And remember, guys, it's we the people for the people. We've got to make sure that all of our constitutional rights are being upheld. And we got to stay on top of things. We got to start supporting our communities as a whole. And we got to start putting politicians in that are about the Constitution, not about their pockets, not about the lobbyists, not about the corporations that are giving all this money. We need to go back to some of the old ways, the old ways where anybody could become a president, could become a senator or a congressman or a mayor. And we need to stop voting on party lines. We need to vote on and solely by a person's actions. Do they support the Constitution? Do they support it? Everything. Not because they only believe one way, because they believe everybody's equal, everybody has the right to believe what they want, everybody has the right to freedom of speech and freedom of expression. The whole Constitution, that's what people we should elect should be about. Not amending it, making changes. Enforcing what's already there. Equality for everyone, male, female, black, white, every race. If you're a citizen or if you're becoming a citizen, we need to make it easier for those that want to become citizens, because it's not an easy process. And it shouldn't be easy, but it shouldn't be as hard as it is. You know, if you're coming to this country because you want to be the same liberties and freedoms we have, you want to see that flag, red, white, and blue, stars and stripes, fly high, and live on the real American dream. That's what that's for. And it shouldn't be that hard for you to get. It shouldn't be completely easy. You need to be vetted. But we also need to, certain countries, we need to start standing up for that travel ban before we start having shit in Paris and London happening here. The only thing is, and we need to remove those federal judges that said, oh no, you can't. They have no say in it. It is a national security matter which trumps the federal court. The only ruling body that can rule on that is the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court is not going to rule against our national security, because it's really not a constitutional matter. But I've rambled on enough. At least I finally was able to get this in without any more technical difficulties. I want to thank you guys for that, those that did tune in. If you liked the video, click like. If you didn't, click the thumbs down. Don't matter me. But if you did like it and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And make sure you click on the little bell to get notifications for when I do upload videos and go live. And guys, even though this was a live stream, you guys are still welcome to comment in the comment. Let me hear your opinions and views on this topic. You know, I'll interact with you. It might not be right away, but I will get to it. When I either get up in the morning, if I see comments, I will respond back. Or you can direct message me. Everything you need to know is in my description. So, like I said, thank you for tuning in. I will catch you guys on the next video.